Let me talk you through one of the best pitch decks I've ever seen and why this company is never going to raise money. Let me tell you all the things that I see here and that I absolutely love, but I'll also highlight why it's basically impossible for this company to raise. The cover slide. It shows all the information that an investor might possibly be looking for. It shows which industry it's in. It shows that it's a B2C company. It shows that it's doing AgTech. It's also showing how much it's raising and a picture of its product. Like everything you need to get a really good first impression of this company is right here on the cover slide. So for the next slide, it does a summary of everything that's happening within this industry. It shows that it's in a $30 billion market, which we can talk about whether or not this company could ever be a $30 billion company if it massively succeeds. It shows the traction. It has $100,000 worth of Kickstarter sales. It shows that it's massively de-risked. It's ready to start shipping. It shows how much it's raising, and it's showing that it's thinks it has an amazing team. As an investor, after seeing these two slides, I will absolutely look at the rest of the pitch deck. It's a masterful opening, and that's how you start a pitch deck. Okay, next up, it's showing the team. So it's showing that we have a serial founder who has massive electrical engineering experience. This is great because this is a hardware product, right? So you're showing that some of the skill set needed to build this company is built in right to the core of the company. It's showing that it's done manufacturing, and it shows it's done successful marketing. It also shows that the fourth person here has a lot of domain experience, right? So between these four people, that's a pretty decent team for an early stage startup. The next slide here is the company's advisors and investors. Now, honestly, I don't really care about this, but sure, why not? Next up is kind of the problem slide. And I've got to be honest, I cringe when I look at this. Maybe I'm being a little sensitive. I had one of my best friends die recently, air humidification. So yes, this plant is probably going to be successful. And then it shows what the actual product is. It's basically a fully automatic growing product that does everything you need to grow your plants. I mean, fantastic. So far, this pitch deck actually has a lot of really good things going for it. It shows the problem, it shows the solution, it shows the implementation of its solution in the form of a product. All of this is really good work. Next up, in its competition analysis, the company shows that there's a bunch of other solutions out there. That's actually kind of important because every company has competitors, and so how you stack up against the competitors are really important. And equating a plant dying with a good friend dying, yikes. A little heavy-handed here. I think it's breaking a nut with a sledgehammer, but it sure makes the point. Next up, the company really rams home the problem. It shows that 73% of homeowners kill multiple houseplants, and that results in economic loss, dead plant and soil waste, and stress. Look, all of these things are real, but the question I have is how expensive is this problem, and are people willing to spend that amount of money to save a houseplant? Like, I can go to a nursery, spend $10 and buy another houseplant, right? It's sad, but I'm not entirely convinced that this problem is a problem worth solving. And so the solution this company is offering is a smart device, right? So it uses AI and a bunch of information about houseplants to control every aspect of growing a plant. So it's showing that it's controlling the watering, the lighting, the fertilization, plant heating, soil heating. And the interesting thing here is that the company is also highlighting that a bunch of these other companies raised money from VC. It's saying that Orc raised 3.3 million, Rise raised 11 million, Garden raised 55 million, and Click and Grow raised $18 million from VCs. The subtle story that the company is actually telling here is that VCs are interested in this space. So I think this is a really good way of both showing that there are other competitors out there, that VC is interested, and that this company is trying to do something different. It shows the competitors, but it also shows a differentiation. Really well done, very clever. On its traction slide, this company actually shows that it has a fair amount of traction, which de-risks this company. It says that it has a mailing list of 10,000 people. It has a measured customer acquisition cost because it ran a Kickstarter campaign. It says it did $102,000 on Kickstarter. It has a trademark, it has a moat, and it has de-risked the technical side of this company because it has a working prototype. Like, as a hardware investor, this ticks a lot of the boxes. Now, there's a quirk here, which is that the Kickstarter campaign, if you click on that link, was actually canceled. And that is the first major red flag here, where I'm like, wait a minute, if this Kickstarter campaign was so successful, why did the company cancel this campaign? Next up, the company talks about its target customer, which, yeah, kills houseplants, doesn't like killing houseplants. That's totally reasonable. And then from its target customer, it expands that into the market size. How many Michaels are there? And from its market size, it goes to its go-to market. I want to highlight the cleverness of this trio of slides. Who's the audience? Michael. How many Michaels are there? That's the market size. And then how are we going to reach these Michaels? It is a really smart and elegant way of telling this part of the story in a way that really connects and really makes all of this make sense. Three crucial parts of it, really well done. It talks about inbound and outbound and guerrilla marketing, yada, yada, yada. This just ticks the box. It explains that the company knows how to reach its audience. Absolutely fantastic. The final piece of this puzzle is also incredibly elegant. It's saying, okay, how much money will we make from each of these customers? And I think, honestly, this is where the pitch falls apart. The Planty is a $1,000 product. And then from there, you need a bunch of accessories. And look, I appreciate that some people out there might be willing to spend $1,000 for essentially a smart plant pot. But this is where I think the market sizing of this is incredibly naive. What is the market size for $1,000 plant pots? I honestly don't know. But I think this is where a lot of VCs will just take a look and go, And I think the assumption built into this slide is that people will spend $1,000 on a plant pot, then spend $15 a month on a subscription, and every fifth customer will keep that subscription running for 3 years. Now, if all of that is true, this is an incredible business. But if you take a couple of steps back, I'm like, who is willing to spend that amount of money on keeping a plant alive, where you can go to your local garden center and buy a new plant for $30? And I think, honestly, this is where this pitch falls apart. It has every slide you would expect in a slide deck, and it even has the business basics in place. But if you take a couple of steps back and think honestly about will people actually buy this, this is where a huge amount of skepticism creeps in. And I think, this is not going to work. Then the company explains its big vision, where it's saying, look, it's about thriving plants, and that leads to well-being and mental health. Sure, plants are great for mental health, but this kind of extension makes it feel a little desperate. Like extending plant care into a mental health story feels like a real stretch to me. Next up, the company's asking use of funds. I love the ask. 1.4 million, super clear. And then the use of funds is really well done. This is an extraordinary slide. I think what Planty is really doing here is mastering the art of SMART goals. Specific, measurable, achievable, relevant, and time-bound. Like if the company manages to deliver on all of these goals, it is absolutely in a great place to raise the next round of funding. And if it thinks it can do that with the 1.4 million it's raising, then this is kind of a sure bet. Now, of course, as we've already discussed, I don't think the market is big enough to actually carry this kind of thing, but that's kind of beside the point. As a slide, this is amazing. Next up, the company shares its operating plan, where it shows the amount of hardware sales, software sales, subscriptions, etc., where it's going to spend the money, and how it all breaks down. I'm not going to spend too much time on this, but having this in your slide deck in an easy to read, easy to digest way is a really good idea. Then finally, on its closing slide, the company has a really good call to action. I think, honestly, this is objectively an incredible pitch deck. It has all the information you're looking for. It tells the story in a really good way. Everything is internally coherent and works really well. Realistically, the only thing this company got wrong was that fundamentally it's not a good idea. Like, people are not going to spend $1,000 for a plant pot. That's just realistically not going to happen. And having said that, as a pitch deck, this is a really good place to learn how to do this really, really well. All the information is there. It's easy to read, easy to digest. The design is good. This is a really good pitch deck. So if you see something that's present in this pitch deck that isn't in yours, consider adding it.